Hi, so today on the weekend we are going to have a small educational video, and here the concept would be very same. In the market you will see there are a lot of indicators, right? और ये indicators की हर एक की अलग अलग story होती है, and you will find plenty of videos explaining them, what they mean in YouTube or in other sources, or there are also some courses about it. So I'm not going to talk about that, but rather I'm going to talk about two things. Is indicators is something which is a mathematical model, right? But there is always उन मैथमेटिकल मॉडल्स के पीछे में एक सोच होती है, और जब भी आप कोई एक इंडिकेटर की वैल्यू आप देखते हो, whether it's RSI, MACD, or any one of them, SMA, simple moving average, exponential moving average, right? So whenever you see a particular value for a given time frame, whether you are on a daily chart, weekly chart, or an hourly or smaller time frames, सो वहाँ पे एक आपको हर एक स्क्रिप्ट हर एक स्टॉक के लिए एक पर्टिकुलर वैल्यू आएगी, राइट? सो हियर आई मीन टाटा मोटर्स, और मैंने एक मूविंग एवरेज लगाया है ऑन अ 20 टाइम पीरियड. सो वी आर जस्ट गोइंग टू एनालाइज व्हाट दिस मूविंग एवरेज मीन्स, and other than that there are also one or two different trading styles जो ये moving average लेके trading कुछ concepts बनाते हैं. They have their success rate, they have their failure rates, and so this is also something which if you look and Google or YouTube में आप जब search करोगे कि moving average based trading strategies, you will get hundreds of them. Not everyone is perfect, of course. अगर कोई भी trading strategy अगर perfect होती है, so the whole world would be using it, and everyone would be making money and would be millionaires by now. But that's not the case, as a result of which you should not be going into that, but rather we should be concentrating on getting some some understanding of what a moving average means. And by understanding I don't mean which mathematical model, but rather the implications of that mathematical model, right? So here we are seeing on Tata Motors, we are on a daily chart. We can see that 292.6 on a daily chart is the simple moving average of Tata Motors on a daily chart, and it's trading at a 299 price range, and as a result of which it's above the 20 simple moving average, right? When you go for hourly chart, you can see the value changes, of course, to 297, and so these are few of the strategies. But one of the very interesting thing I wanted to showcase over here is how the simple moving average means and what it means in the first place. And once you understand this, then you will understand of why any inherent trading strategy which is based on simple moving average, why is not a foolproof thing, right? So say for example we have three numbers, 1, 2 and 3. What would be a simple moving average of it, right? So you already know you have to add them and divide with the number of items. So here this is going to come as 2, right? क्योंकि 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 is 6. 6 by 3 is 2, right? So here in the first time frame we have a simple moving average whose value is 2. Now say the next value which comes is 1, say for example again, right? So now what we have is something which is known as a sliding window. So ये जो last value थी, this will actually get removed in the next computation. Suppose हम 3 period कर रहे हैं, and now the 2, 3, 1 ये जो है, now this particular value will be calculated, or rather taken into consideration. So the new simple moving average is going to come as 2, right? So, and this is exactly the point which I wanted to showcase, right? And okay, before I do that, one of the very interesting things, or one of the only things which actually matters, is the closing of a particular price. Whether you are on an hourly chart, 15-minute chart, 5-minute chart, जहाँ पे भी आप हो, you should or the simple moving average is, or all the indicators, they basically all by default use the closing value, and everyone should be using it, because that's exactly the value which the market decides for that particular stock at that given point of time. There can be a huge volatility on the upside or on the downside, आप अगर 1 hour का चार्ट देख रहे हो, maybe you can see that, you know, just like in Tata Motors also, you can see it went towards 303. Sorry. But what actually matters at the end of the day is the closing, and this is the reason why in the morning you see there's a huge amount of volatility in the first 5, 10, 15 minutes of the chart, and again during closing you can see there's a huge amount of volatility, or rather a huge amount of movement, because these are the actual times where actually, you know, big traders, they actually make their positions, because either the closing looks good and maybe they want to do it as a BTST trade, or also in the morning they are happy with the profits they are carrying for the BTST, and then they actually sell off in the morning, right? As a result of which, throughout the day you will see there's a in most of the stocks you will see a very minimal movement, and most of them will be in a range bound trade, and as a result of which there is not much of an advantage which you can get, right? So the closing of the stock is most important. So यहाँ पे हमने क्या किया है, we have removed all the volatility, so we are actually not looking into the candles, but rather if you go over here and select, so we are looking into the line, and this is, so if you select over here, this is the candle, so here you can see the price have been moving up and down, but if you look into the candle, so you can see this is how, you know, in a line format, and this actually only takes into account the closing, right? So suppose हम एक 3 SMA हम देख रहे हैं, 3 period SMA, so वहाँ पे stock की value 1 थी, फिर 2 थी, फिर 3 थी, so when we do a 3 SMA it calculates to 2, and then in the next interval the value is again 1, so as a result of which you can see ये जो old value थी 1, this got replaced by the new 1, and now again the SMA is on the 3 period chart is again 2, right? So what does this mean? This अगर आप सिर्फ SMA को देखते हो, so basically it means that nothing has changed in the script, because the older values जो निकली हैं और जो नया value आया है, they didn't make any difference to the SMA calculation. But if you think from a stock perspective, just think, right? So a stock 3 में थी, which might be all time high, say for example for this particular stock जो अभी listed हुई है, उसका listing price 1 था, next day it went to 2, it closed at 2, the next day it went to 3, and on the 4th day it closed at 1. So अगर आप if you're just looking into this simple example, you can see the inherent problem of a moving average, and this problem you can extend it to n number of items, whether it's the famous ones like 10 SMA, 20 SMA, 50 SMA, 200 SMA, 100 SMA. So there are a lot of trading strategies based on these concepts. But the inherent problem which each of these SMAs have is, if you look into an SMA perspective, you understand that the SMA has not been changed, because पहले भी 2 थी, अभी भी 2 है. But what has actually changed is, you know, the perception of the closing of the stock. So एक stock जो 3 में थी वो अभी 1 में आ गई है, and so this actually is very bearish, right? Now the SMA inherently is never able to comprehend it, and this is also something which is something I think maybe it's not very obvious to a lot of new traders or even traders, and you should always understand this physical implications of this particular concept, right? So the purpose of this video was to keep it simple. So there are 2-3 trading strategies which people use. Say for example, so there is a golden crossover when a particular lower time frame, so when a higher time frame, or a higher period SMA, when it crosses over a shorter one, so basically it actually showcases that there is some momentum happening. So suppose आपकी एक 50 SMA ऐसी जा रही है और आपकी 20 ऐसे करके क्रॉस की, so this is a good thing that there is a momentum in the short time, because ये 20 just cross की, and this itself is known as a golden crossover. But it doesn't actually mean anything, in the sense it's never going to, for any particular script, it's never going to give you any sort of signal. But rather what actually matters is rather how the slope of this particular SMA is being maintained. So अगर ये cross करके फिर अगर here you can see this is on a 20 SMA, so here you can see the slope of this SMA was more important. when this slope changes, what does it mean is कि ये जो next वाली 231 थी, next वाली फिर से 1 आई, right? As a result of which ये जब फिर से slide होके ये calculate हुई, so here we actually removed the higher value 2 and we introduced the new 1, as a result of which the SMA has started dipping, right? And this is exactly the reason that there will be a lot of zigzag movements around if the stock is stuck in a range. So if you are trading, one of the traders who actually think that the SMA concept is a golden rule and will give you a high probability of success, believe me, if you do backtesting on all the scripts, taking into consideration all the factors, this will be a very I really don't think this will actually give you any edge. And rather, if you are one of those traders, just go see, the market may have worked earlier is just because of this thing that since 2020 there has been a lot of buying interest, and there have been a lot of traders. But going forward, this concept of SMA acting like a support or a resistance, this, if you are trying to use it, believe me, you are going to get bitten a lot amount of time, and this is always not going to work for you, because the most important concept is the slope of the SMA and not the value of the SMA. So जैसे मैं एक गोल्डन क्रॉसओवर बोला, so this is a higher smaller time frame, so this is a 20 SMA, and this is a higher time frame, say 50 SMA. Similarly, you can make it this one as 50 and this one as 100. So similarly, these are different crossover strategies जहाँ पे आप use कर सकते हो. Another thing which you can use is, suppose this is actually a higher time frame and 50, लेकिन यहाँ पे आपका जो lower time frame है जो say 20, and this has dipped below the higher one, and so basically you can see that this is also a good shorting strategy which a lot of trading strategies they use. So just like ये जैसे golden है, so this actually is a bearish crossover, and theoretically this can be quite detrimental to the script. So, but if you are interested in having these trading strategies, just like the only way I use SMA is has been discussed in one of the earlier videos, जो आपको upper right hand corner में मिल जाएगी, जहाँ पे मैं I always make sure that the scripts I am looking into, they have this following property कि जो 200 है और जो 100 है और जो 50 है और जो 20 है. So I always make sure that जो 200 है वो 100 के नीचे है, जो 50 है वो 100 के ऊपर है. So I always make sure that this is the number one criteria which I use to do any sort of script selection, and this has to be on a much higher time frame and not on a lower one like hourly or a daily, but rather you can start with a weekly one. We already created some indicators in my previous video, you can have a look, and personally I always stick with those particular scripts जो इन criteria को match करती है. If there is a particular script just like say Tata Motors, say for example, here you can see that this script has been trying to go towards the SMA, and then there's a fall, and then again it crossed over, and then again it fell, and then again it's over here and here. So the reason why you see such such problems in your trading strategy is because this is, as we discussed earlier, this is all stuck in a particular range, right? As a result of which most of the time the market will be in this way, and so you cannot really expect a move like this happening every day and every now and then for you. As a result of which you should have your expectations set, and whenever you are using a particular, and this is also true for exponential moving average, the only advantage which exponential has is it will be much faster compared to a simple moving average, because that's how the exponential curve moves compared to a simple one. But at the end of the day, if you are using, or if you think you have found the golden rule by using any different strategies which are out there, and I have looked into hundreds of them, so it's absolutely not a big thing which you have stumbled upon, and so none of them will have a problem, but rather what's more important for you is to have an an understanding of what actually SMA means, and having not only the definition or mathematical model behind it, but rather understanding of, even if your script is actually taking out the old ones and replacing it with the new ones, but if the values of the old one with the new one doesn't change, that is not going to change the SMA. But from a stock perspective, that's a huge detriment, क्योंकि पहले 1 2 3 में उसके बाद अगर फिर 1 आया, so there was if you are plotting it in a curve, right? So you have 1 over here, and then you have 2 over here, and you have 3 over here, and then the next one is again 1. So you can see the way the script has fallen, but the SMA has not been able to cope with it. Hope this video is going to help you and give you this implication. I know this might be a very naive video, because maybe you guys are already have been using SMA 20 and have been getting a lot of success, but in general, do remember that stock price with volume is what's more important. And so next week I will try to make a video, and the reason for making this one in the first place was to give you a understanding of how the price is the main thing, and any sort of curve fitting or any sort of moving average, if you are trying to use it, just do remember this very concept that if the SMA is not falling, right, or even it's very simple. Suppose let's start, you have 2 3 and 4, right, and the next one is again 3, and the next one is 2, say for example. So here you will see that there has been, अगर आप 2 3 4 का अगर आप first time करो, so you are going to get a particular value, right? So of your 3 period SMA. The next one would be 3 4 3, say for example. The next one would be again 4 3 2. So because it's a sliding protocol, so basically it's a sliding window, so basically the window is going to shift. But if you think from a stock perspective, 2 3 4 was an uptrend, 4 3 2 is a downtrend. So you should be ready, and you should be able to understand and comprehend that it's not the SMA which is actually the one which is playing, but rather it's the price which is more important. And going forward, you should be giving more stress, or you should be giving more value to how the price moves. And hope this is going to be a new revelation, or rather a new concept for you. Thanks a lot for listening. And the reason I made this video is I have got a few queries in my Twitter handle regarding which SMA model I use. So it really doesn't matter whether you are using 20. Say for example, this is mine, right, and this is going to come. So theoretically it means nothing. It's just that I'm more comfortable with this particular value, and so I will only be interested in the stock when it moves above it. But again, you can see it moved above and it again went below. So any SMA, the only advantage is when you are taking a much higher time frame or a higher period, SMA is going to average over a huge amount of data, and so this is going to be much smoother. And but at the end of the day, it's not a valid it's not a valid tool to give you entry or exit signals. Thanks a lot for listening. In the next video, in the next week, I'm going to give you a very good idea of how you can at least use the price and volume, say for example, and try to find out buy and sell strategies. In general, let me tell you, whenever I take a trade, I'm more interested in the technicals, and I never use any indicator. Rather, my trading is more based on the psychology and the way the market is moving on that particular day, on a shorter time frame, on a weekly basis, and also on a monthly basis. So just like the sentiment of the market is good, so maybe I would be more interested in in looking for long trades options. If the sentiment is bad, if I think it's bad, then I will actually be looking for short trading opportunities. Thanks a lot for listening, and enjoy your weekend. Bye bye.